Ron, I dump your ass. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to Define Our Prime. My name's Chris.
I'm Ron.
And today we're going to talk about Chapter 2, The Mallrats from Stranger Things Season 3. So first we're going to talk about Hopper and Joyce. Ron?
Okay, well, it's interesting because Hopper's plan worked. When in doubt, just threaten a 13-year-old and all is well. So they're not seeing each other right now. Mike has to kind of lie to Elle, and she doesn't really like that very much about his grandmother dying or something, which is really messed up.
I like how the mom's on the phone, too, and she's like, what did Nana call?
Is she okay? I was like, Mom. I love how the kids talk to their mothers because it's like so true with teenage boys. Like, Mom, get off the phone!
Yeah.
The meatloaf!
So he goes to see her and talk to her about how successful the plan worked. I like how he kind of said, well, I lived it a little bit, but we talked about our feelings and it worked.
Yeah,
so we need to go out and celebrate.
Yes, and he asked her on a date, and it's interesting because he doesn't want Mike to see Elle, but he's got his mind on love, and he wants to go out with Joyce.
Yep.
So kind of a little hypocritical.
And when he's walking out, because he has to go to the protest that's happening because of the mall, as he's walking past, he almost trips on the magnets, and that kind of sparks the whole Joyce, who doesn't trust in coincidence, because of what's happened in this show, season 1 and season 2. And I can't blame her, right? So she's like, I'm going to investigate. So he leaves and ends up, later on in the episode, he goes to the date, but because of her brain and how it works, right, she believes something's actually happening with these magnets. She goes and sees Mr. Clark, the coolest teacher ever, and they end up working out this thing, and he ends up telling her, in theory, the only thing that could really be doing this is a multi-million-dollar device.
I'm not gonna lie,
causing all of that.
I'm not gonna lie. When he first said that, I thought to myself, oh my god, is that Dustin's Cerebro machine? And then after a little bit of thinking about it, I was like, oh wait, no, it can't
could be something.
It's got to be the Russians or something,
Yeah, but then Hopper gets stood up and gets super drunk and angrily goes home. And that's kind of where the episode goes with it. All right, next let's talk about Dustin, Steve, and Robin. So Dustin's back now. They show the first time that he's reunited with Steve, and they do that awesome handshake. Steve comes running out of the back. He's so excited he's here. Robin's like, Steve, another one of your kids are here. And he's like, oh!
They have that awesome Star Wars handshake.
It's just amazing. I love the chemistry between these two. And they end up going, and Dustin tells Steve about the Russian transmission that he intercepted. I love how he's whispering it to him. He's like, I intercepted a Russian transmission. And then she's like, speak up. And then when he says it, everyone
looks at him. Yeah. And you know what their relationship reminds me of? Early on in Family Guy, when they had an episode of Stewie and Brian, and you wouldn't think those two would be together, but the chemistry was awesome, so Seth MacFarlane kept doing it. That reminds me of Steve and Dustin, because in season 2, they kind of just ended up together because of the storyline, but I think everyone just loved it, and I think the fan a reaction got the creators to have more Steve and Dustin.
Yeah, it's great. It's fantastic.
Yes.
And then so they start working on translating this transmission, and Robin, who apparently they're being super loud in the back, just opens it up and is like, hey guys, not only can I hear everything, but I speak 4 different languages. I do band. I can help with this. So Steve, you go serve ice cream. You're helping. You're not helping at all. Yes. And let me join the.
Yeah, and it's funny. She said their entire what they were exactly doing. They think that they're being all secret, and she's like, you found a Russian transmission, you're trying to intercept it, and you're trying to translate it, but guess what? You didn't know that the Russians had a completely different alphabet. Yeah. I actually thought that too, because I actually tried to learn Russian one time with a phone app, and it was so hard because I didn't realize they do have an entirely different alphabet, so A and Z, it doesn't mean the same thing, so I kind of gave up after a month. And that was just awesome.
So then they end up, their episode ends with them leaving. They ended up figuring out the first sentence of the transmission, which I don't remember off the top of my head what it is.
Something about a gray horse, or no, the first sentence was something about the week, the long week.
Yeah, but whatever. Yeah. So they end up figuring the first one out, and then right as they're leaving, Steve puts a quarter into the horse ride machine, and ends up hearing that the sound coming out of that ride is what's in the transmission. So something it has.
It's happening in the mall, not Russia, or near the mall, whatever.
Yep.
Yeah. Now let's get to the boys here. The boys. 11 finds out that Mike lied.
Yep.
And she kind of reverted back to her old, weird, awkward lab self where she went, friends don't lie. Why you lie? So I feel like when she asks questions, her questions are very simple. Mm-hmm. She doesn't have that the advanced form of talking that she started getting later on, and she goes back to her old self. Mm-hmm. And she says, "I dump your ass," and
That's at the end. So
Yeah.
it starts off really
Yeah.
like she thinks Mike's lying, but doesn't know how to really find out. So she ends up going to Max. Max is dating Lucas. It's a smart move by her to try to get like girls' insight, especially with relationships. And they end up going on. It's funny to see in this episode what guys do versus
Yes.
what girls do, right? So the guys, the boys, they're like, okay, you gotta get a gift.
they have a mission.
Lucas is like, I screw up all the time.
Yeah.
And this is how I get her back. Let's go to the mall and find a gift. Where the
Yes.
girls are like, hey, screw boys,
Yeah.
let's go shopping.
And let's just go have fun. Yeah, that's exactly what it's like too. Because when I go to the mall, I know exactly what I want. I go right to the store, I
Yep.
get it, and then I go. Whereas, my fiance, she doesn't like the mall anyway. But most girls, they want to have a good time. They want to have a day of it.
And the montage that they do there is great. You see that everyone having fun. 11 ends up making the one girl's soda explode. Like, it's all good time.
Is that worth the
The
nosebleed?
the boys are going to try to find out how much this teddy bear costs. Ends up being $300. Mike only has $350. So, so it obviously doesn't work out. And then they end up seeing them as they're leaving. And Mike starts yelling at her, saying like, "Why are you here? You know you're not supposed to be here." And then 11 drops the line that
Yes.
I told Ron in the beginning.
Yes.
I
I was surprised. I was like, that's kind of a little out of character for her because they've been through so much together,
Yep.
and I think she really does care about Mike a lot. But
Yeah.
then I started to think about it, and she's probably just trying to impress Max because she wants to be normal, and she thinks that the normal thing for a girl to do is to dump him, and you could tell that she regretted it a little later on. She was a little upset.
Well, yeah, and Max said in the beginning, like, if this is how it works, and if he lies again, just dump his ass.
Yeah.
If he lied again, he even got Lucas to try to cover the lie. Dumped his ass.
And by Lucas saying that she already took him back 5 times, I feel like Max, and she's trying to tell 11, expect him
Yeah.
to come back. So I don't think 11 really made this
it's not
decision permanently.
No, and then so that's what happens with them in the episode. Really enjoyed their little journey they went through. And then Nancy and Jonathan, they're still tracking down the case that she picked up last episode. They ends up going to the home of the lady that called it in. They see the rat in the basement eating the fertilizer, all rabid. The thing. Just really going quick through this
Yes.
one. The thing explodes, turns into goo. It like goes inside out, becomes like
a
inside out
T-1000
rat,
thing,
and then
yeah.
like runs to the
Yeah.
corner. So I mean, we'll see what happens with them, but they're still kind of just chasing the case. And then finally, Billy and his transformation. So we see him running out of the shop or whatever he got taken in last time. So he's still alive, but then he instantly flips to the upside down.
Yeah, it
right?
seems like he's going to become a tool for the mind flare, the upside down, like we saw in the trailer.
Yep. So he ends up going to the pool. He's all messed up. He ends up seeing Mrs. Wheeler, and Mrs. Wheeler says that she didn't go to cheat on her husband. Like, she's like, "I'm sorry I didn't show up." And he has a vision of him like smashing her head in. And then he has another vision later when he's in the shower with the girl that it's like, you have to take her to him.
Yes.
Right. So he's being, like Ron said, he's
a
becoming the tool.
Yes.
And then he ends up taking her, brings her to the shadow monster, the mind flayer, whatever this inside out rat
The
goo monster
consciousness
is
of the
becoming.
upside down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And the episode ends with him saying to her, right, like, it'll be over soon, and then
And then that goes right into episode 3.
yeah. So I mean, we would love to hear what you guys thought about Chapter 2, The Mallrats. What do you think is going to happen in episode 3? And we will see you next time, right?
Absolutely.
Have a good one, guys.
Keep binging.